I like to use road cards, but I haven't. I did the event last night too. Yeah, I think if it's big, like I've seen more and more people do it. Less paper in the world, right?
We're live on YouTube.
Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. Please take a seat. If you haven't checked in, this is an opportunity to check in with Sakaya, but we're going to go ahead and get started now. All right, good morning. I'm like, hey, you know you can be louder than that. There's a lot of people here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. So I usually forget to do the little bit of housekeeping. As a reminder, restrooms are behind us, right across the hall. I have also disarmed this door. So if you would like to use a ramp to leave the room, this door you can go out of and you don't have to take stairs. So just thought I'd point that out before we get started. I'm Nikki Winslow, Director of the Altadena Library District, and I'm pleased to see so many of you. We had a feeling, our local community and more, here as we welcome and celebrate poets and poetry and enjoy readings from those artists published in the Altadena Poetry Review Anthology 2024. It has been quite a journey since our outgoing Altadena Poets Laureate, Peter J. Harris. Hi, Peter. Hi, Peter. And Carla R. Samet were selected in spring 2022. What 2 years it has been. Since then, they hosted close to 24 poetry events, and their efforts helped connect hundreds of Altadena residents with poetry through these programs, both in person and virtually. They were also named 2023 Fellows by the Academy of American Poets. Yeah. Huge honor, of which there were only 22, I think, in the 23 in the entire country. So that is a very distinguished award. So congratulations on that. Which led to their public poetry project over the past year called Ode to the Land, a series of workshops that culminated in a reading earlier this month. We are proud to support our Poets Laureate in these and the many other well-attended events they hosted these past 2 seasons. As both poets and people, their work and workshops reflect and uplift the values of the Altadena Library District: equity, innovation, and empathy. Like our Altadena Poets Laureate, our district works to support and inspire our community through our services, our collections, and our programs, and our libraries. And thanks to reciprocal support from our community, we are about to renovate, upgrade, and expand our Bob Lucas Branch Library. We just broke ground on it on the 18th. Super excited about that project. It closed earlier this month and we held the community groundbreaking to mark the renovation and expansion. Construction should take about a year. And once the branch reopens, the impact will resonate with Altadena for generations. And I like to always plug my building projects in case you're someone that would otherwise not have connection to this information. In the meantime, our community will continue to have access to library materials, services, and programs at the main library and through outreach efforts. Personally, I want to extend a huge thank you to Carla and Peter. Thank you for your energy, ideas, and engagement over the past 2 years. Peter. Thanks to your efforts, as well as the line of poets who served our community before you, many of which I see in the room today, this Poetry and Cookies event has grown from a program with 12 poets and some delicious cookie into the incredibly robust one we share today. As a district, we look forward to working with the new Altadena Poets Laureate for 2024 to 2026, helping support their efforts to continue bringing poetry to our community. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm pleased to bring Carla back up.
Thank you so much, Nikki. I'm going to go ahead and read the land acknowledgement to start out with. The Altadena Library District acknowledges its presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Gabrielina Tongva peoples. Altadena is located on the stolen homelands of the Hahamanga tribal band. The traditional territory of the Gabrielina Tongva is referred to as Topanga, which includes the areas currently known as Los Angeles County, Riverside County, West San Bernardino County, parts of Orange County, as well as the 4 Southern Channel Islands. Entities such as the US government and non-native settlers have subjected the Gabrielino Tongva peoples to historic and continuing injustices, including genocide, forced displacement, and cultural and linguistic erasure. Altadena Library commits to learning, educating, and informing its staff and residents of present-day Altadena about the rich histories, vibrant communities, and culture of the Gabrielino Tongva people, present and past, through our collection, development, resources, and program offerings. And we'll just take a moment. I want to welcome everyone here this morning. So happy to see so many faces, so many poets here to read their marvelous work. I also want to welcome our former poet laureates. Do you want to stand up for a minute? Anyone here who's a former poet laureate? Del Moreno. Okay, and I also want to let you know that you do not have to wait for intermission. I don't think there is going to be an intermission. There's a lot of you reading. You need to go ahead, help yourself to cookies, coffee, water. I hope there's something here for you. There's also, I mentioned gluten-free, and some nice person brought in kosher for Pesach, if anyone here is observing. Okay. I want to ask you also to silence your phones if you would. So I'm just going to say a minute. First of all, I want to take a second to introduce our new poet laureates, Seba Sarwar. Okay, we're pretty excited about these 2 new dynamos coming on. Lester Lennon was not able to attend today, but he is the other co-poet laureate. I want to take a moment to thank all the people who support this program, the Altadena Library, the Library Foundation, the Friends of the Altadena Library, poets and writers, women who submit, the Academy of American Poets, and the Mellon Foundation. And I just want to take a second to mention, thank you all who have been able to participate in our programs throughout our workshops. Many poems were generated. In addition to open submissions, there were poems that were generated from our Synergy portfolio, which Peter will say a bit more about. Our first year online journal that paired poetry with music, art, dance, and also our Ode to the Land workshops, where we brought together elders 55 and up, as well as teens. And it was really marvelous because there was some great intergenerational exchanges and some mentor-mentee relationships that were formed. In all our workshops that we had through over the last 2 years, we've had both very experienced poets, published authors, as well as first-time poets. And we have this mixture in our anthology as well. I have to look at my notes to make sure I cover everything here. Okay, I am going to go ahead and pass it on to Peter J. Harris, who is going to give some opening remarks. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm so sad I can't be there with you. That I can't feel the power of the poets reading their work, and that I can't share some cookies with you. For sure, I want some of those. I'll keep this short and sweet. Carla mentioned the portfolio, and I think what I want to say is that it represents what I ended up thinking about as we began to receive poems and submissions. And that is that we are a community without conformity. The beautiful portfolio, I'm not sure, pardon me, I'm not sure if any of our artists are there, but we had dancers and painters and musicians, photographers, allowing us to create this wonderful sort of digital gallery to which the thoughtful poets could respond. And we really, really wanted to emphasize that this community includes art makers of all kinds, although obviously we're here to celebrate poetry. I think it's super, super critical to stay open to the power of, different art forms, the power of thinking through a creative process or creative problem even. So we're glad to gather. I'm here, and since I got sick back a year ago, I have still attended every workshop via Zoom. And of course, I worked with Thelma, the publisher of the anthology, through phone calls and texts and emails. I'm an old school point guard, and I take very seriously my responsibilities. And it has been an absolute joy, both to read work by people I knew, and most people here in the book I don't know. And you'll read more as you get the book, if you don't already have it, about the process I use. Is very simple and very personal. I just wanted the poetry, as Billy Preston used to say, to move me around. And often I had chosen a poem for inclusion in the book without even reading the author. And I have tried to explain in my foreword that that's super important to me, because it means that my relationship was with the work. And although I certainly value the relationships that I have with with many of the writers, after all, I lived and worked in LA since 1991. So invariably, I was going to meet somebody and work with you and critique you or be critiqued. But that's what I mean. We're a community without conformity. So I don't want to belabor this. As anybody who knows me knows, I hate these long-winded introductions at poetry readings. So of course, you know our ground rules. You get called up, you say your name, maybe say your poem's title, and then you kill that reading and vacate that mic so somebody else can come up, and let's keep it moving. I am thrilled to have worked with Carla. Carla had to two-step when I got sick, and it wasn't easy, but we figured it out. And I really want to tell you, Carla, personally, in front of our colleagues, how much I appreciate your adaptivity, your creativity. And we managed 2 years, and I wish nothing but the best for Seba and Lester. You might not want to call me though for about 3 months. I don't know what I'll have for you, but I'm excited to see where you guys go. Okay, so thank you so much. I do want to celebrate really quickly this extraordinary photo. I guess y'all got it in hand, but it's taken by LA artist named Naila Porter. Her stage name is Naila. Not only is she a marvelous photographer, she's an exquisite singer and musician. She is currently, I think, visiting family in North Carolina, so I'm sure she's not there. But please enjoy that gorgeous cover, exquisite light that we love so much as sun goes down or comes up in Altadena. To everyone who's in the book, thank you for letting us publish your work. And I'm going to be here as long as I can, muted and faded out to listen to as much of the poetry. Thank you again. Somehow, you know, you can send cookies by mail. So somebody, Carla, we got to hook up a cookie care package because I'm going to be hungry soon. Thank you, everybody, and I look forward to hearing the work.
Thank you so much, Peter. I just want to also thank, I don't know if any of our workshop leaders, our workshop instructors over the last 2 years are here, but I just want to thank them as well because their instruction, their workshops also help generate a good number of the poems that are in the anthology. So we thank them as well as the artists who are part of the Synergy portfolio. I now want to call up the wonderful Dr. Thelma Reina, who is the publisher of Golden Foothills Press, the publisher of our beautiful anthology, and has been working really hard over the last months. Thelma, where are you? There you are. Come on up.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful sight to look out here and to see all these faces. Diversity that truly represents the very best of our society, of America, of Pasadena, of Altadena, of poets, everyone. It's a beautiful sight. Thank you all for being here. And I do want you to know that it has been my pleasure and my honor to work very closely with Peter Harris as the editor of this anthology, and with Carla as the local poet laureate here on site. She has been wonderful as well. It has been a labor of love, but you all are worth it. Your work is worth it. The Altadena Poetry Review tradition is worth it. So let me tell you a little bit about what we've done so far. This book here, the Altadena Poetry Review by that name was born in 2015, 2016, when I was a poet laureate. we were able to build on the beautiful foundation that Polly Dutton had built through the poetry and cookies and poetry. For about 13 or 14 years, Polly had, when she was the director of the library here, Polly had established a poetry tradition. She did the Poetry and Cookies program. She ran this ceremony for years, and she had a beautiful anthology called the Poetry and Cookies Anthology. So we were able to build on that. So in 2015, my advisory committee and I changed the name of the anthology to Altadena Poetry Review Anthology, and every single Poet Laureate term that has transpired since then, that's the year that we give it. So this year, it's a Altadena Poetry Review Anthology 2024, in honor of the Poet Laureates for 2024. And let me tell you, this is the largest of the Altadena anthologies that we have had so far. It is about 304 pages. It has approximately 137 poets in it, approximately 177 poems in it. And we've already heard how at the beginning, there were about 12 poets that were published. Polly broke new ground and she kept on breaking it. And what we see now, what we have here, is the result of what she birthed. It has been such a pleasure to me to read these, to work with this, and to see this growth. And I just want you to know, all of you who are here, you are in very, very distinguished company. Not only is this the largest in terms of content and numbers of all the anthologies that we have had up to now, but let me tell you a little bit about some of the distinguished people generically in it. We have at least 12 poets laureate in this book, including a state poet laureate, Mayor Langer Thompson. We have well over 15 to 20 Pushcart Prize for Poetry nominees. We have 2 winners of the American Book Award, which is one of the highest literary awards in America. Peter J. Harris is one of the winners. And then another poet in our book, Seshu Foster, is another one of the winners. That's a little notch below the Pulitzer Prize. A lot of the poets in this book have at least one published book to their name. And growing, some of them have more than 15 books to their name. And of course, not the least of all, we have some wonderful debut poets, people who had never before tried to publish their work, or they did, and this was their first success. So we have new, up and coming, the new generation that I'm always so fond of coming up, mixed in with all of these very distinguished authors. So I'm so proud of that. So just let me say a few other little quick things here. As of today, this book is live on Amazon.com. We've been waiting for it in press. It's in the mail. We don't know exactly when, a lot of unpredictable things going on. But this is what the book looks like. This is a galley, and it is live on Amazon.com. So tell your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, everyone else besides yourself, because you guys are going to have your own authored copy and discounted authored copies as well. But pass the word, it is now live. As far as distribution is concerned, we have systems in place, so not to worry. We are going to provide for local authors, local residents, or nearby residents to be able to quickly access their books. And some, I think, through this library, we're working on that. I have been collecting snail mail addresses from our authors. I believe that we have most of you already on record with the snail mail. So if worse comes to worse, if you cannot pick a copy up personally, I will mail it to you. So one way or another, during the month of May, as soon as possible, you will get at least your complimentary copy in your hand. And just spread the word, let everyone you know, put it on your social media, tell everyone what a fascinating anthology this is. I think it's one of the very best anthologies, poetry anthologies that I have ever seen in my career, in my life. And definitely it's my favorite book of the ones that my Golden Foothills Press has published up to this point. We have about 14 books under our belt. This is absolutely my favorite. And I just want to say it, I've said it to her before, Carla Samuth, Peter J. Harris. I consider these two people the best of any poet laureate I have ever known. And that includes a lot of truly excellent people, poets who are sitting here right now. These people are superstars, and they did all of this for you, for us, for poetry, for our community. And I thank them dearly for this. Kudos to them. Kudos to them.
Thank you, Selma. And Polly Dunn, do you want to stand up for a moment so people can see who you are? We've been talking about it. And I just want to take a moment to thank someone who we couldn't have done this second year of our laureateship without Sakaya Manning, who is back there. Our project manager has been incredible and has really kept this program going. We're so happy to be working with them. Okay, I'm gonna call off the names of the first 8 poets, and you're just gonna be giving your name. When you come up, say your name and the name of your poem, please. Juan Amador, Susan Auerbach, Marianne Berry, Michaela Bajor, Lynn Bronstein, Felicia E. Taylor, Alice Perro, and Lydia Bushloper. Can you please head up towards the front? Okay, just line up and come up one at a time, starting at the beginning of the line. You don't have to be in that exact order that I read. It's okay, you know, just so it looks like Susan is first. So come on up.
I'm Susan Auerbach, and this is Streamlight. I watch the root of a ripple of light at water's edge, its perplexing allure, till it skips downstream, then out of sight. On wrinkles of alder trunks quivering white, tickling boulders with teasing blur, I watch the root of a ripple of light. The jumble of pulses and streaks it excites, quickening now with the current's whirl, till it skips downstream, sweeps out of sight. Of this flickering trick of shadow turned bright, I'm both acolyte and connoisseur. I watch the root of a ripple of light, this unbidden gift of morning delight, with surfaces left untouched, inert, till it dances downstream, then out of sight. It calls me to sit, to gaze, and to write, distractions and duties deferred. I watch the root of a ripple of light, till it fades downstream, then out of sight. Thank you.
Ida Bushloper. The action. It's late. It's dark. They form a caravan. They don't know where they're headed. No one speaks. The less they know, the less the chance of leaks. They trust the leaders who designed the plan. Yet each knows his or her essential role. Who snaps the chain? Who shoots the video? Who raids the coops? Who warns and shouts, "Go, go," however short of their intended goal. They know the hazards when, not if, they're caught. They risk a bullet, brawl, arrest, and jail. They line up folks to call to send them bail and prize what notoriety they've brought. One rescued hen is passed from arm to arm. This one at least escapes the factory farm.
Hello, I am Felicia Taylor E, and I will be reading Tainted Breath. Tugs me like an arm around my waist, gripping my fragile mind and taut body. Moves me like a slithering rattlesnake, giving a sound of warning before a deathly bite. I dance. Swing my smooth, curvy hips and thick brown thighs to the nightclub grooves. I don't want to fall into the whirl of this Hennessy-tainted breath I smell, but I dive to depths I can't climb out of. Scents of him simmer through me and loosen my body to a river's flow. He stands so close to me. The inner talk becomes a battle of love and hate in my head. One says to embrace the sweltering of all things about him, and the other to reject the sentimentality. The aroma from this smooth, slow-moving Hennessy smell of a man intoxicates me, creeping into my body and mixing within the knocking of my bones. It loosens me, making all things flow like a river, calm, then bubbles to overflow. Crashing sounds at the pool table amplify, and everything within me gravitates to those familiar scents, pulling me closer in, closer in. I wish it had no power, did not represent a debilitating truth. I have no strength. I can't win. Thank you.
Alice Perrow. And it's funny that my poem is called Moving, because Peter seemed to give that as kind of a theme. Moving. The bird call becomes the long stretch across the desert wash, becomes the yellow cactus blossom, becomes the sweet morning air, becomes the sun just emerging from behind the white cloud, becomes the slow sway of the pond fronds, becomes the way that bird dips in flight, becomes a twinge of yellow in the green leaves, becomes the slow hum of an airplane, becomes flies buzzing, becomes the wisp of dandelion fuzz, becomes the owl hooting at night, becomes the sycamore dropping its spiny fruit, becomes the ripple of leaves as wind changes direction, becomes the cat running towards its unseen prey, becomes my soft, steady breathing, becomes the way he looks walking away, his bent back, becomes one single omnipotent moment.
House of Words in the house. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Lynn Bronstein, and this is called How to Find Me. Go to Hollywood and Highland. It's too crowded, I know, but amidst the tourists, you may see me enjoying a hot, fresh sundae. Go look in the dusty closets for an old scrapbook of movie photos with captions written by a 10-year-old who was determined to be famous and without flaws. If you still can't find me, a library would be a good place to look. Try a bookstore that still exists. You could also try putting an ad in the newspapers, if there are any newspapers left. And if all else fails, look on any street, inside any house. Look at the faces of people who walk to work, carry heavy bags, and can't avoid telling the truth. Look for any small person who is reaching for the top shelf. If you take off your dark glasses and squint in the sun, that small person will be me.
My name is Juan Amador. My piece is called Super Duper Toxic Masculinity. Content warning, this contains foul language and he raised his son to become the big man of the house. He made him watch porn so his son knows that a man fucks a woman. How a man fucks a woman. How a man dominates a woman. Just 9 years old. Little big man cannot find a woman to fuck. He's too young. So he take his sexual frustrations on his little friend, just 7 years old. Summer of 1992, childhood ended under a bright sun and clear blue sky, and the birds were singing. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michaela Bjork, and this is first poem for August. In the morning, when I crick into your bedroom, opening the curtains, singing nonsensical songs, spinning tendrils framing your precious chunkarunka face. I watch you watching me. I pull you onto my lap for your morning milk chug. Your once snug onesie falls off your saggy bottom as you scooch yourself into the crook of my lap, where you settle in and latch with conviction onto my left breast. In the rocking chair, we sway back and forth as you nurse your cadence. Breathe, suck, swallow. Breathe, suck, swallow. Breathe, suck, swallow. Becomes a meditation on the wave-like crescendos upon which you came into and exited my body, my little sprite spirit, my precious giggly room. Locked into you, blue eyes to blue eyes, I see a map of your journey, the journey of your ancestors, of the mermen and crows and hawks that came before you, ushering you safely into me, home.
I'm Mary Ann Berry. This is on the patio at Nature Friends, Sierra Madre, California. No sound, only a presence sudden at my shoulder, the way God might show up. Advancing secretly, then full-blown fur and breath, he slouched past me toward an oak nearby, where he rolled his back against the bark, as if the tree existed purely for his pleasure, which it did, and I for his amusement as he sized up my silent fear. Temptation was great to confront those bottomless eyes, to try a word or two, to form the kind of question one might ask of a brown bear, such as, how to live with such luxurious certainty that though the mountain is burned, there's water here in a hose puddle and a feast in the scraps outside the kitchen door.
So much. I just want to say that if there is anyone who hasn't checked in with Sakaya, who's there at the entrance, you should do so if you are a reader. Okay. Group 2, Tim Callahan, Don Kingfisher Campbell, Victor Cass, Pekka Susan Chesney, Gia Severlo, wait, Gia, forgive me, I just butchered your name.
It's all right, Ciberola.
Civerola, thank you. Cheryl Collins, Beverly M. Collins, and Lisbeth Coyman.
Tim Callahan, my poem is titled That Far Shore. He is an old man, old man, who wanders through halls, through dark, dark halls, through the dark and hidden halls, the dark and hidden halls of his heart, in search of days, of long lost days, those lost days of his lost youth. He says, they are gone, most surely gone, those days of my youth, my long lost youth, the long lost youth of my long life. I see them like a far off shore, a far, far shore, a shrouded shore, obscured by memories, softened by time, worn smooth by time, all their hard edges eroded and smoothed and softened by time, long passing time. He perceives a fair and fortunate shore. The old hurts and old losses are only seen dimly, most dimly and fading, and loves, old loves, the loves of his youth, are seen warmly as part of that shore. That far shore, that far, far shore, that far off shore, that shrouded shore, all obscured in memory's mists. I'm Victor Cass. I poem is The Junk. Junk man on my street. I watch you from my window. Drive slowly past the houses, lined up in rows like stones. Stop here and there to collect the discarded pieces of our lives. Scrap metal is your goal. The broken washer and dryer, a linked rusty pipe, the meat wagon of the material world. When you go about your way without a word, sometimes you stand in your truck, rearranging the stacks of junk. No one knows your name or who you are. Get off and grab from the sidewalk the memories of children and happy homemakers. Throw them onto the pile. You avoid your gaze, drive around you and look the other way. The sight of you unsettles, reminds us that there's another one of you out there that will come to us.
I'm Don Kingfisher Campbell, and I'd like to take you on a tour of the World War III Museum. Piles of melted steel, rubble bricks, and scattered wood shards to walk around for hours. Shells of ships, planes, trucks, cars. No, I'm sorry, I got the cars to gaze at from an uncomfortable short distance. Okay, over here, shadows of humans, dogs, cats, even mice to be observed on walls and floors so close you can almost touch them. Over here, videos of world leaders in disagreement, the people segregated in differently named countries and neighborhoods in this bunker. And finally, on these tables, mounds of cooked hair, scrapings of charred flesh, and chunks of fragmented bones as evidence we were all the same.
afternoon. I am Beverly Collins, and I'm going to read How from the Middle. What started as a whisper tight in the lower throat became wooden pressure that settled into a buildup like tears from last year's tumble. A place sharp on all sides, shaded and striped with moving drips of light. My wail, muffled easily by the forest foliage. As I endured splash of rain and splatter of mud with no ears to hear from, I wonder, is this my lone season at stiffness, unable to view the face of roses? In my past life, I hunted this crown of the valley, showed all that moved, my power. Reincarnated, I am neither a thorn nor a splinter, and can capture only momentarily tiny mouthfuls of toy winds. Thank you.
Chuka Susan Chesney. The name of my poem is Ascending the Cliff. We see stretchers carrying corpses climbing up the trail below the shoulder of the highway. On each stretch of canvas, twined with faces, arms, and legs, lay wreaths of flowers, vegetables, and fruit. Arranged on Talavera platters of pottery, scalps like unraveled embroidery, crema marble eyes mottled by flies, eggshells of teeth, salsa openings on jeans and patterned fabric. A pickup truck has spilled over the side. 3 people toppled. Relatives carry them, harnessed by their weight. The spirits rise quickly, watching fleshy shards among chrysanthemums and mangoes, which will inevitably rot beside their sun-dried bodies.
Honored to be here. My name is Cheryl Collin, and my poem is Goodbye, Leonard Cohen. I still feel the weight of your head, cradled between my knees in a hammock formed of my gauzy dress. The puzzle of your perfect mind laid out before me. While I poured orange tea into fragile china, the bits of orange sticking to the thermos. The flavor was there if you were open. Stroking your hair, I told you it never could have worked with Suzanne. I think she knew you couldn't stay, not forever, tied to that chair. I always wanted to sing Hallelujah with you. In our last photo together, the shot I dreamed of was of our profiles. Me forward, you behind, our eyes closed in a fragile rapture for the hallelujah at the end. But instead, I have this lousy print with your face looking tired and mine near invisible in your shadow. I would have taken any hallelujah you offered, but one never came. It's taken me years to understand that you love me enough to let me go with just a brush of the cheek and goodbye.
My name is Lisbeth Koyman, and my poem is Meditation. I am the wind, cleaning novel viruses, mala vida, walking through amplifying silences, truths kept sadness bold. Joy holds broken pulse, gust of energy. I'm the rock, transcending time, shadow for small beings needing respite, balance in a monochromatic landscape, expansion, contraction of life. I am the water, new ideas live, born, thirsty, calm their quench, reservoir, murmurs in eardrums, love poems for past and future self. I am the harsh landscape of the high desert, complete in austerity. I am the narrow trail where one foot lands solid on the ground, certain tears, moist soil. California puppies transform sorrow, give back orange smiles. I am the tree, stoic in drought and fire, body fills with energy flowing inside trunk, branches, refuge, under shade, rest, and
I'm Gia Cibarolo, and this is Jump Cut Blues. It was always going to end badly. Fatal femme fatale lips, the red so luscious. It leaks through 35mm flickering frames. Fluttering eyelashes with a purpose, shudder through the light. A deep focus, wet night pavements, the kind killers and Scorsese light. Jump cut waves were even now. She still craves the smoke to walk in the soft focus haze of street black eyeliners raining down her face. Some say, but not me, a last manipulative plea to a hero, too weak for the title, or those deep red lip kisses dripping down white sheets hanging out to dry by the frolic room, strangling Hollywood and Vine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Aren't you all wonderful? Give yourself a hand. Okay, group 3, Kristen Corsi, Chris Cressy, Diane Dorman, Polly Dudden, Richard Dudden, Carolina Rivera Escamilla, Ben Falcon Quinn, and Gregory G.T. Foster.
And this is Hypnotic Tango. Every encounter we shift and adjust in our synchronized routine, sharing glances and subtle gestures, only the two of us understand. Hidden. It's all hidden, as if we speak an entirely different language than the rest. We separate again and again, records on repeat, but cycling through the same pattern: deceit, denial, dystopia, disintegrating into the overpowering energy that draws us together in this hypnotic tango. I release your hand, you twirl away with ease and relax into a back bend the moment the pirouette ends, only to find my arms already extended in support. Our secret dance exhilarates under the influence, but the farther we submerge, the more we illuminate our one-way glass. Suddenly adjusting, the more subtle we shift and move, they can't discern if we glide in slow motion throughout the display. We have no desire to dance together until we die, and yet there's no one else on the dance floor. Adrenaline fuels us when we feel the eyes piercing through the delicately placed shroud. Surely they cannot decipher the encryption behind our irises. I step twice forward. You match my steps backward. I twist quickly, a quick change, and you pivot and return, coming closer. This time I felt your hand crease my hip, causing me to stagger. I dreamt this so long ago. In my deja vu, you whispered, "Careful, you make me fall." Again, we pivot to the revenant music's crescendo. Only this time, you spin into my embrace. The moment vanishes in a spark, separating us back to our dizzying scrimmage. Will my knees fatigue and fail me? Do you or I have the upper hand? Who is the master of this game? Stepping back and looking in, I know neither is the master. We are simply at the liberty of the cyclone. We think we're clever, but somehow everyone has been in on our gamble, bidding on our undoing. In hiding, we only veiled our own sight, but I had gotten so lost in the dance and tumbled way too deep. I am consumed, drowning in what ifs, possible endings, weak decisions, and tragic anticipations. Every time I release your delicate hand, I find myself still attached by my pinky. I should never have promised I would stay forever. I will only ever be the one you know in the moments we've danced. The future will change me, and I can't say you like the result. So let us dance this one last piece. Maybe if my goodbye is silent, slowly stepping out of sight, we can finally find our peace separately, not in withdrawal to stumble back in each other's midst unwarranted again. Thank you.
I'm Chris Cressy. My poem is called Heritage. Like anything nearing 100, my table has visible scars, gouges, unwanted crevices, discolorations, and divots. Perhaps I've been guided to renew the surface while acknowledging my own advancing age, to better celebrate the journey, undefined by the modifications of time, still useful, like the table. I have seen generations gather, contemplate, and nourish themselves at my invitation. How I wish I could replay old conversations around this artifact created by father and son. Long gone are the benches and undercarriage. Years of exposure caused their demise. As I sand away the weathered varnish, there's an unexpected rainbow of complexity. After several coats of oil and conditioner, the once peeling surface gleams, richly hued. Maybe that's all any of us aging relics need. Extreme hydration and loving caresses.
Hi, Diane Dorman. Oops, I guess I'm going to. Darwin's Bank. Emerge from the river naked. Lay face down, palms down, breast and belly to the burn. Body heat softens the crust. I sink deeper. Musky taste of mud. Red ring bodies undulate. Nibbles of clay traveling in and through. Burrowing trails of oxygen. Turning compact clay to rich black loam. Trickles of rain follow. Rivulets to thirsty tendrils. Deep in the earthen dark, fingers mimic roots. Palpable rhythm of ascending and descending phloem and xylem. Fine threads of mycorrhizal fungi network the underground.
pulse with nitrogen and carbon, messages from tree to tree. Mud-coated me, sleepy and slimy as a curl grub, listening to the secret language of trees. Carolina Rivera Escamilla. My poem is called Women of Flowers of Fire. The women in my family sprout orange fire flowers, flowers of orange light in their hair. They furrow the clouds into ravines, lakes, and seas, rivers. Bundles of firewood are their arms. Their hands are ovens in which they shelter the light of my existence, kneading and mixing it into a paste with ashes and glue. They wrap the medicine on my young feet for the crossing journey to the other side. Thank you.
I'm Pauline Dutton. And thank you so much. I'm reading Painting the Tides. The tide surged, and each wave that hit the beach came light struck. John Brent from Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. A tide cannot always be ascending. Sometimes it needs to decline. My 90-year-old father lived married to an easel, streaking sunbeams through cadmium blue, shadowing tides with burning umber. Glistening waves, he can't stop flecking titanium white. When he was young, he painted knotholes and moats for musicals he sang in. When the script called for a child, I strolled or stood on stage. I always hoped for a bigger role. Once I pretended to point at a bear in a cage. Another time I carried a king's train. The best part of every show was the finale, when we all held hands and sang together. We bowed, they clapped, and the song held me through the night and even after. For days, when I closed my eyes, I could hear Dad's resounding tenor. His favorite role was Andy, Captain Andy in Showboat, spiffy in his nautical cap. For years, Dad inhabited that hat, spoke of his ache to sail his own boat. He painted seascapes until he went blind, tuned pianos until he went deaf. In the white winter of age, he sang in the church choir until that last descent. When tides go out and white barnacles hide, their cases broken, shells scattered across the sand.
Richard Dutton. Opening. The door opened slowly. Father came in. I was 4 years old. got a ride on his shoulders. The door opened slowly. Father came in. I was 6 years old. He showed me how to do chess openings. I won with the opening checkmate he showed me. The door opened slowly. I came in, was 50 years old. We started a game of chess. I won with the opening checkmate he had shown me. The door to my mind opens slowly. Father taught me slowly by letting me win, increasing the challenge slowly. Stressing my perseverance with each win, eventually he would sprinkle some losses in. This was a help in my life. The door to my husband opened slowly. The door to my husbandry opened slowly. To daughter and wife, chess was an enjoyment. I played them and would take wins there too quickly. The door closed, and I don't know how to open it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Felker Quinn, and I'm going to read The Moment in 6 Movements, which is for my dear friend, William Lewis Goldsby. 1. Every moment gathers the sun, the world shaking momentum of every existence ever. So each moment is one. 2. Though we are many and simultaneous too, any postmodernist moment will insist, and why not? To survive countless violence, how many moments fractured inside from out? How many still jerk back and forth like clockwork, repeating the same split as if hypnotized between the wound opening and the world ongoing. As many moments as grains of sand adorn the postmodern desert, while for continuity's sake we cultivate our contradictions to fruit and seed. Can't you feed 2 birds with 1 piece of stone-hard bread? 3. I call a dear friend, just as he is about to call me. Trust everything we touch turns to gold, he remarks, and so I offer his words to a 3rd friend, who stops me to explain this same formula came to him just yesterday, which confirms alchemically all 3 of us are golden. 4. My tab runs $44.44 on the corner of 44th Street. For a moment, wind and rain, upend and unearthly fire, east, west, south, and north contract, and the moment looks back and knows me intimately before carrying on into the beyond. 5. When I let go, let be, flow through me and into you, we intuit the breath of our being here now, hurtling together over the precipice of our momentary lives. Paths merge and diverge like water on the way to eternity. Where the water falls weightless, another moment emerges again and again, an unknowing through the flow that trusts each moment to spring anew from now. 6. Songbirds lately flown from down south knit winter's bare branches into melodic horizon. Spring bursts forth in a shower of buds and blossoms, proof, as the Anishinaabe say, that they love us still. And that even still, as a dear friend reminds me, we are their best imaginations come true.
G.T. Foster, When There Were Stars. Long ago, when there were stars, like Bogey and Betty, Carrie and Clark, Marilyn and Liz. There were party lines and holiday parades. The big tent event came and went. Before there was a Golden State or an Eisenhower freeway system of any kind. When Route 66 and Highway 99 were hometown fairways, lined with cafes and fine dining. When fast food for a hungry belly was peanut butter and jelly. Pretty girls were foxes. Before car parks or emergency call boxes. Drivers would smoke and drink and pull to the side of the road to catch a few winks. Hitchhikers caught rides in a blink, or they'd come by Greyhound from USA towns near and far places, suitcases full of dreams to Hollywood, bad and good. Thespians, hoping long ago when there were stars.
Thank you to all the poets who have read thus far. It's really wonderful hearing your voices. I've read your work, and hearing you read the work out loud is really special. Okay, the next group is Sutichai Savat Hasu. Vertigo Bean Ituarte, Charles Harmon, Hazel Clayton Harrison, Terry Hicks, Elise Gion, Rick Leedy, Charmaine Leland St. John. Please come up.
Little test testing. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Oh, my name's Chai. You can find me on the menu of a Starbucks. And in my opinion, much better pairing with cookies and coffee. No offense. All right. This poem is called Morning Star. Spiked ball chains in the market stalls that steal nostrils spotlight a stench eyeball. See, my ancestors enjoyed this fruit that had the shape of the armaments of a medieval brute. See, this weapon I'm talking about is the weapon of the gods that I've wept on, where it's ripened the shell to crack with brawn, using a knife stab through its heart to steal, and putting up proportions with pieces to peel. With pits cracked asunder, sheared, torn apart, yellow infused in blood, bitter and tart. With veins flayed on valiant flowing streaks, that stringent rips of smooth silk that reeks of slain bodies in laid out cavities, like rotten corpses inlaid round cores. And while my folks savor it, I will never understand. But man, I just hate eating durian. Never mind.
Charmaine Leland St. John, everything I had was blue. The cotton dress I wore that day, the sapphire sky, the train upon which I arrived, the river flowing past our little town, the periwinkles in the window box, my eyes, my mood, my muse, the curling smoke from your cigar, the willow plates upon the covered shelves, the hydrangea soap I used to bathe myself, the veins on the back of my own hand, the notes I sang, somewhat out of tune. Everything I had was blue. The taper's flame, the ink inside my pen, my socks and shoes, the night, my rose tattoo. The lacy camisole that slipped, drifted off my shoulders toward the floor, but did not fall. The moon, the Picasso print hanging on the bedroom wall. Everything I had was blue, even the notepaper upon which you wrote the words, I love you and goodbye.
Vertigo Vini Forte. And this is written in synergy with Pat Gay. See, feel, change. I look at your beautiful face, curiosity on tiptoes, inside your closed eyelids, shadows, images, color, live in darkness. Tapestry stories woven by ancestors, nourish threads of wonder, hope, bravery. Welcome change, ignited by past, tempted future. Eyes reflect our souls, heartbeats, ease transitions, transgressions. Ocean of life brings safe passage. Open door, let ancestors in. They know who we are. Time to sit, talk, laugh, cry. Feel their power, love. Well, never runs dry. Your eyes open, gift. Windows to the soul. See, feel, change. What color are your eyes? Gray blue, like my grandmother? Thank you.
My name is Hazel Clayton Harrison, and the title of my poem is Kinfolk, in memory of Willie. Willie personified the word, had it written on his license plate. He was a father, a brother, a son, grew up in Louisiana, eating Creole food. He loved jambalaya, gumbo, and fried okra. After high school, he joined the Army, fought in Vietnam, but rarely spoke of it. He was too busy living. Lived off Crenshaw in the hood. Peppered his talk with language I wasn't supposed to speak.
But he was cultured. Loved music from bebop to pop to hip hop. Loved operas and symphonies too. Every now and then he'd call me up. What's going on? Nothing, I'd say. Got tickets to the opera. Want to go? No matter what opera it was, I'd accept his invitation. Willie was a cool dresser. Blue jeans pressed with creases sharp enough to cut you. Leather boots, spit shined, turtleneck sweater, black jacket, Stetson squared on his head. When we rolled up to the opera house, women turned their heads. But he always showed me the utmost respect. Willie loved his community, his people. We weren't blood related, but he was my cuz. We was kinfolk.
Hi, my name is Elise John. I'm honored to be here. Summer. Early summer afternoon, we go to Koreatown, LA to eat soybean noodles. In front of noodle restaurant, people sit on a bench, drank the damp memories. Jacaranda flutters in the wind as you brush your sparse purple hair back. It's midsummer. Embracing packaged foods, people take steps in different directions. A weekend couple. Before finding each other with free will, like 300 years ago. How did you walk side by side at the same time, under the same sun, and in the same parking lot? A second jacaranda petal falls on my shoulder. Handful of air, bunch of sunshine, and a bag of bean soup. Whose stem and water pipe? Leaf or leaf vein? Lush and indifferent. Bean flowers look at the sky. See you again in 300 years. A petal slips backwards from the bonnet of the reversing car. I can't answer the phone right now because I'm free. Block all reception, turn all signals to off mode, and sleep wide and calm as the horizon. Thank you.
I'm Charles Harmon. Gui Ling. The Lijiang, so flat and motionless, pools of stillness surrounded by regions of ripples, agitation of evening breezes mixing with deeper currents. Karst hills of limestone rise rank after rank, a natural Qin's terracotta army from Xi'an, carved from the ancient terrain by wind and water. Chinese watercolor painting, Zhonghua Shanshui Huahua, come to real life. The river burdened with its cargo of moon and stars, everything earthly darkening beneath heaven's golden dusk. The cloudy river in the sky begins to flow, from east to west, choked with unknown worlds and the unknowable. Cormorant fishermen make their nightly preparations, fixing bronze rings around the necks of their birds, each loose enough to let the hunters breathe, swim, dive, fish, tight enough to prevent the cormorants swallowing their catch. Each bird is attached by the ring to a leash to be pulled back into the boat with each prize, relieved of his burden, rewarded only now and then with some choice morsel. One good bird can feed an entire family. Several create surplus. Nature at the service of mankind. The ring is only a link in the chain. Sun, plants, fish, birds, man, wife, children, life, death, rebirth. Fire in a basket suspended from the prow by a pole, light in the night, whether sun or moon, fish rise from the depths to feed and to be fed upon. The birds dive again and again, only to have it taken away again and again. The same old story. Can the man even feel the ring around his own neck? Can he see all the links of his chain? Can he feel the line being reeled in? Does he know who pulls the strings? Does he even care? Care who is predator or prey, so long as he gets his own juicy piece of fish every night. Thank you.
Rick Liddy on me. The sea and sky are intertwined as we sit apart on the park bench, eating banh mi in Portland, Maine. The passenger in a convertible yells, "Look, there's a rainbow," as jabs his finger toward the ocean. It is vague and far away, a wisp of refraction against distant rainfall. The horizon is telescopic, as if you can see the Earth's curve. The heavens are filled with swollen clouds, filled with potential. Shadows dot the sloped green hills' last hurrah before winter overtakes. I look at you, overtaken by your beauty, eating your banh mi, staring into the eternal, where the sea and sky blur together, the rainbow growing, heading our way.
Hello, my name is Terry Hicks, and I will be reading today. I'd like to use the word peace. Today, I'd like to use the word peace. Not like a piece of jewelry, but the sense of peace I feel when I clasp a necklace around my neck that holds my chosen stone for the day. Peace that enveloped my grandmother's home when she played the gospel, "Peace Be Still," crooned by James Cleveland and his choir. Peace I felt as a child laying under tree. Peace I feel when I walk the mountain, hear chirps, calls, buzzings of birds and bees. Peace I feel at the ocean's edge, sand beneath my feet, in between my toes. The sound of waves, the breath of breeze. Peace that permeates after a torrent rain, nightmare and cleansing, filling the same space. Peace that fills my heart, the sound of toddlers just learning to speak, demanding their say, demanding to be heard. Not peace held hostage by demands of justice, the peace that just is, if we let it be.
Thank you all so much. Do you think that if you have a seat next to you, could you raise your hand so that people who are standing might come in and sit down? take a minute. The next group is gonna be James Coates, Kate Moe, Sandra Ramos O'Brien, Morgan Robertson, Seva Sarwar, Mary Torregrosso, Sue Tumler, and Alicia Vigor Esper. Please come forward if I pronounce your name.
Doesn't matter. I'm right.
I'm James Coates, and this poem is titled Ready to Be Consumed. The citrus trees in my front yard are my favorite, prized over the cherry tomatoes or green bell peppers. Daily, I water and check to make sure the insects in homegrown bin have not invaded our luscious garden serenity. I project forward to the ripe orange, bursting with juice, sliced into pinwheels, sprinkled with tahine, saltiness balancing the sap. On lazy afternoons, I imagine someone is waiting for me to mature, for my green to fade away, giving birth to a marriage of glowing expectations realized. Maybe it's too much to ask for someone to pour blessings into my life daily, to nurture the hummingbird's breath of my blossoming potential, to see me through fall shedding and winter chill, to wait with me, for me. Commitment is a long, endless sky set against a lonely, dipping sun. I wait for this orange in quiet meanderings, strangers to each other's struggle, but hopeful of the day we meet and are developed, ready to be consumed. Does an orange dream of the day it is plucked out of the only world it's known, to be brought inside a dwelling, held like cheeks between palms, brought close to smell the fragrance of selection? Open me up, split my rind wide, reveal the good, sweet hope of me. Cherish my offering as your morning delight.
Sandra Ramos O'Brien. This is called.
Closer to the mic.
My piece is called, is this good?
That's not good. Let's say it.
Okay, all right.
No,
No. Closer?
There you go.
I'm gonna be kissing it. Okay. So this is called After the Divorce, or After the Divorce. After the divorce. Love, memory, lust, forgotten love. Love revives lust. Lust traces flesh. Flesh enlivens mind. Mind remembers lust. Lust goes, mind remains. remains memory, sex. Sex, memory, echoes, echoes, flesh, lust, lust, memory, love. Love remains, remains decomposed.
I'm Kate, I'm Kate Mo, and my poem is To My First Home. You reminded me of a bowling alley. A ball could roll from your front door down the long hall and strut before exiting out the back.
Very.
Closer?
Yeah.
That hall was your spine. Ancient wiring crackled. When the switch flipped on, lighting the whole place, front room, kitchen, bedroom, and the makeshift bath. You had no screens or windows, a dented refrigerator, but no stove. It was only $90 a month, semi-furnished, and utilities included. I had no television or radio, so I listened. Screeching tires and sirens, bottles crashing through your bedroom window, screwdriver stabbings in the alley. But you were my first home, and I felt safe. Outside dramas with strangers were better than the facade. Quiet suburban house, hiding a gallery of nightmares.
I'm Mary Torregrossa. My poem is Devil Winds. High temperatures, low humidity, and clear skies. The Santa Ana winds blow hot from the desert, speed southwest towards the sea. On the days when the devil winds carry embers, bend the flames low to ignite resinous coyote bush, red California holly, and the woody burl of the white flowered chamise. In the flatlands, we taste the smoke of wildfires on our tongues. It feels right to curse you. Living off that long dirt road in the desert, you reek of smoke. A fire burns recklessly inside you. I know who I am. My foundation's rock solid as the stone walls my father built that hold up in 100-year flood in tornadoes and earthquakes. And you, undone by a sip of vodka, a shot of tequila, a glass of bourbon, a bottle of gin, you destroy things. I construct things like my mother and her mother. She said, this is wool, this is silk, this is dotted Swiss velvet, gross grain, and polyester. This is how you pin the pattern to the fabric. This is how you cut the garment into shapes. This is how you thread the needle. Watch yourself. These things are sharp.
My name is Seva Sarwar, and this poem is called On Belonging. It's a found poem. And it contains text from community members that I used for art installations in Claremont, Pasadena, and Houston. And it's dedicated to my daughter completing her first year at college and finding her belonging at a student encampment. 1. Ocean in my blood, sunburns from the beach. My mother, siblings, family,
four-legged and human. Summer vacation a long time ago. With a good book where I am safe, listening to my music, laughter from the belly, spaces in between, feet on red earth, twisted tongue embrace. 2. Amor, el desierto, long drives, coffee, brick sidewalks, the smell of rain, tortillas, chile, stone walls, trees, waterfalls, dock in lake surrounded by farmland, a horizon of cotton fields, my elementary schoolyard in hot sun, 2-lane country roads after wheat harvest, winter coming. 3. Grandmother's red house and the smell of her PJs, borderlands, open Texas skies, Bangladesh, mountains, central space, Punjab, Durango in the heart of Mexico, Muraran, Hakaka, Japan, houseboat in Kashmir, Xi'an City Wall, China, my home country, atoms, cosmos, innermost self everywhere, a global citizen. Love has no limitation, belonging. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Short people. Alethea Vigor Spirit. I'm going to read a haiku titled Sea Lifts Her Burqa. I wonder how tough this young Kabul woman has it. This woman who shows me her lovely 15-year-old face, polished nails bright red, and the green eyes of a 1985 National Geographic cover. A youth already betrothed to a man 3 times her age, a friend from her father's. Luckily, with only one wife, she whispers. Leaning on the noise of a building's facade to hide her dismay or protect herself from viewers, she pushes her chaperone's hands as they try to pull the burqa back. At home, family prepares halwa and praises God for the engagement. Nervous, she asks about life in Europe. If I am allowed to dance until sunrise, how often women die in childbirth, and if my husband beats me. With the last question, her smile disappears. I survey the snowy reaches circling us like rapacious birds, starving for prey in that frigid December morning. He's a good man. Maybe he let me go back to school, she says, frowning. I think about her often, her beauty, youth. Pray fate will treat her with enough benevolence to raise healthy, educated children. She wouldn't have a chance, untrained as she was, but her daughters did before the Taliban. Now I see clouds of misery engulf the city. Women sit around clunky kerosene stoves without kerosene, debate the dangers of defying the jailers to have a life of their own or else. A bright light fades fast under the burqa. A bright light fades fast under the burqa. Thank you.
My name is Sue Temler, and I'm reading Bittersweet. Like 3 quiet Puritans, trimly dressed in pale matte mustard, the butternuts sit on the kitchen counter, waiting. I was young in that kitchen, a baby on my hip, not my own, and knew nothing about sharp cleavers, their dangers, the strength required. My hand moved from baby's head to butternut, felt the same curved shape. I pressed it to memory, let it feed me, then went to work. I held the butternuts, impressed by their weight, held my breath to keep the cleaver straight, split the smooth skin, spilled seeds and pulp, slick and stringy. Inside, a bright promise that the peeling and chopping, the boil and mash would yield a fine splendor in the dark confines of my mouth. Bittersweet, like the last warm breeze blowing through a garden before early snow. Luscious, like a gift first imagined, then longed for, finally held in grateful hands. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Morgan Robertson. My poem is titled Wait and Then. I want to hear you say wait and then my name. Why don't we stay here in this place, in this space that we have created, where only lyrics and chords and strum patterns matter, where the breeze will lift your voice and bring it closer to my ear. Tell me that my voice is the only voice that you want to hear. Tell me I'm beautiful, and then say my name again, or better yet, call me yours. And I will ramble on out loud about love, 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 and you'll smile and tell me, only hopeless romantics talk like that. You're just another Juliet. And I'll blush and say, well, that's just how I was made. I want to say I was made for you, but I don't know yet if that is true. You'll drum your fingers on the table and I will stare down, afraid to look in your eyes because if I do, I'll smile wider. I want our hands to touch and our fingers to interlock and your breath to hitch and think, this is it.
Thank you all so much. I'm gonna date myself, but Allen Ginsberg yelled at me once for reading too softly. So I always try to get close enough to the microphone. Okay. Our last group, and Chris, you're gonna go first. Chris Askew, Wade F. Wilson, Roy Kushel, Priyat Sani, Robert Keith Young, Jackie Cho, Martha Rivas, and Eileen Lipkin.
I'm Chris Eskew, and the poem is King Man. That better?
Better, say that.
Okay. Kid Man. Me, not me. Stark, still among dark trees. Mist dripped from branch and sullen cloud. By summer's storm and winter's freeze, rust stalled and stayed. Once proud, I stand for centuries, it seems, between the hovel and the fence, unmoving, save in fevered dreams of free limbs, loves, accomplishments. Successful, but enamored of the chase, my wide swung axe would slip, and where it fell, integrity was stilled, to be replaced by rationalizations to me shown. My service shone, but now inside, no heart, no motive to sustain engagement with the world. And so I died to life, to self,
to everything but rain. Where is my Dorothy? Where is my infusion of innocence and wonder, grit and drive to wrest me from this seclusion and awaken me the will to be alive?
Wade F. Wilson, The Mystery of Me. Curious corvid and wings of blackened ash, perch and ponder this creaking and cracking old wood. Peck at this firm and brittle door, see if it will open, and if so, what more is there to behold? Withering floorboards and mold in the walls, floaty cobwebs, perhaps dust set aloft. Through the shadows and into the faintest light, are there curtains spun of rarest stardust? And if so, who is the architect? Whom is the design? Does one dive deeper or simply leave it all behind? Beyond the silky satin and into the unknown, feathers rap against a house found within an ancient home. The map points to everywhere, but everywhere is here. A home within a house, beyond a golden curtain and a door. Curiosity calls to the corvid, echoes from nevermore. Perch and ponder this wilting and withering lumber. What mysteries lay further in? Powdered shelves with aging books, faded photos, perhaps critters scurry into secret nooks. I imagine there is a window, crystalline but smeared. It peers into the sobering eyes of a curious blackbird, tapping at the door of a house within a home, behind a curtain and another door. But what more is there to behold? What more could there be? I see. Quoth this raven, it is the God in me.
My name is Jackie Chow. My poem is called Navigating the World with the Green-Scaled Tail, written in synergy with Mermaid. Not driving in LA is strange, like having scales instead of skin, a tail instead of legs. Think mermaid, think combing your hair with the fork. It stays tangled no matter how hard you try. Think dating merman instead of the football player, the heartthrob in your class. You're stuck in a life of the same shades of blue, wanting to see the rest of the world. You can beg your fairy godmother for legs, but the sea glass under your feet will be jagged. Would you be brave enough to take the first step? Thank you.
Roy Cushell. Sue settles into her wheelchair. She faces she will never again walk freely these last few days of her century. Never again go to her theater, to her garden, to her salt air shore. The raging storm becomes quiet, as on any day when she would walk in her neighborhood past hidden, unopened gates. She is still wet from the storm, and so she is wet, but with the cool freshness of a new domain, at home in a new climate, a reset to a more intimate world. Fly, she never had wings and never missed them. Were the blind bard's rosy fingered vistas not vast enough? Or the deaf symphonist's scores, da not grand? Did Pound's edit not prune 2/3 of Eliot's flesh from the wasteland, and still it held its ground? Is a fetus excommunicated, severed from her godhead, the placenta, in that moment, hallelujah, not born again? Yes, we were weaned, but were we not freed when expelled from that garden? And are we not exalted, making our own way amongst the briars and weeds of the desert? An immigrant crosses the Rio, and now expatriated remakes herself. She sheds her past treasures and neither wails about loss, nor screams from fear, but smiles, kneels, and kisses her new ground. And so Sue settles in and disarmingly shares she is most at home. No, moreover, thrives as a being in being evicted.
Eileen Lithkin, and my poem is called Gridded, and it is after Jane Sabo, an Altadena photographer, after her series Gridding the Self. Behind these lines, I am moving, tossing my body havishand into a latticed attic, slitted just so, a screen so that my face turned can brood behind. I am wallpapered in, almost built into a post, left for luck to haunt, going behind these bars, thrashing inside a gilded cage, pinned against the yellow diamonds of a fainting couch. I flail, seen or unseen, behind this map, paralleled to a meridian I never said I'd stand behind. But don't worry, I'm held, kept, contained, and one day I will burn this whole thing down. Thank you.
How you all doing? All right, my name is Robert Young. This is called Half Moon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Am I close enough? Okay. The vertical half moon resides in velvety robes of voluminous slate blue clouds, poised momentarily before merging into sky's limitless stage. More than any other soloist called to sing, sing, sing.
Short people. My name is Preet Sani, and I am surprised and honored to be here. My poem is titled Lapis Lazuli. Lapis lazuli, shadow with trestle, cavernous caves in the heart. Seeking in trenches, Mississippi ghost in silk, ravaging petunias white, bride in cocktail dress, sunset pink blues, princess white. Love call she it? Nay, so? Fake blossoms, bosom cherry sweet, blow, wind's deceit. Bequeathed truth, cuckold? Mad Hatter resists my mirror, camphor boils crimson boil. Beguile you? Strawberry poker picked. Squeal, virgins, pretend Hermes, think outwitted, chameleon. Thank you.
tardes. Soy Marta Alicia Rivas Maravilla. Sometimes I don't need a mic, but let's see. Or I'm known as Dr. Martha. Well, today is we still here. We still here. Sometimes you dye your hair a little darker than you really wanted. Sometimes you dress all in black just because you feel like it. Sometimes you purposely leave your hoop earrings on the dresser just to test and irk yourself because you really can't live without them. Sometimes you replace that void with a black rosario just to remind yourself of your old self from hundreds of years and lifetimes ago. Sometimes you speak in a language that is so damn accessible to our gente, even when academia and institutions try to beat it out of you. Sometimes you listen beyond the words that are released just so that you validate the actual energies that made it through generations long before you. Sometimes you honor your children despite the tantrums and preteeness of it all because you know what it's like to be a young, brown, resilient girl in this fucking world. Sometimes you long for a deep connection and manifest it, acknowledging you don't need to do a damn thing because these connections were already made way before you knew or prayed for them. Sometimes you prance and sing and chant in a way that frightens the masses, only to acknowledge those who would have burned y'all. Centuries of masses in aquel entonces. They still are. Sometimes you hide from what has actually been there. You're just so exhausted, you try to convince yourself of so much more than the actuality. Sometimes there are times when none of this makes any fucking sense. But someone, somewhere, reading this will nod their head in all agreement. So that's when you know, we're here. We're still here.
Thank you so much. I just want to take a moment to ask, is there anyone that is here who has a poem in the anthology and didn't get a chance to read? Okay, then I just want, first of all, let's give a huge hand for all these wonderful poems. I really would like to thank the library team, our tech laureate Alex, the volunteers today, the workshop leaders and featured readers over the years, the Zorthian Ranch, Velma Tirena, our wonderful publisher and former poet laureate, and all of you contributors to the anthology. I want to thank on behalf of Peter and myself. And Peter, thank you so much for this amazing work with this anthology as our leader, as editor. Happy belated birthday! Yeah, and happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And we just, I just want to really applaud Peter because health challenges didn't stop him from leading the charge on this anthology. And it's just been wonderful working together over the last 2 years. It was really great when we could be in the same geographical place and work together and spend time together and get to know each other and learn how best to do this thing, this co-poet laureateship. But we've managed to maintain a connection and work together over the last year, and that's been really miraculous. So again, I just want to tell you to greet your fellow poets, have more cookies. Don't forget to thank Sakaya Manning over there for fabulous work. And I think that's about it.